The last and very important is what is called political economy. What does that mean? In summary, I'm looking at risk, political risk, economic risk. In this video, my focus and the conversation we'll be having is how do you choose a viable export market? So I have a product. I have this product I want to sell. This is the product I want to sell. The question I should be asking myself is, how do I choose a market that is viable, where I'll be able to sell this product? How do I choose a market that is viable, where I'll be able to sell this product? How do I choose a viable export market? How do I choose a viable export market? So let's start. How to choose a viable export market. How to choose a viable export market. That's a profitable export market. Now, how do we choose a viable export market? What are the things you should look out for? You know, sometimes if you go to Trademark, for if you want a video, I've told you about how to get different markets. You go to Trademark, you've checked, I want to export this item, I've checked the HS code, I went to that place and I saw a long list. Maybe you have chosen the top 5 in terms of demand, volume. And you have checked the trend over the year. You look for the market that have a growing trend, a growing demand, consistent for the last 3 years. So you are ticking all the boxes. Now you want to choose. You now have option of 3 countries that you want to choose from. What are the factors you need to consider to choose that market? First thing is, this product I want to export, is it on the prohibition list? What does that mean? You cannot export to a country a product that is not allowed in that country. You cannot export to a country a product that is not allowed in that country. You cannot export to a country a product that is not allowed in that country. So, is this item you want to export on the prohibition list? Meaning you need to go and check Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Customs, Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Commerce, custom website in that country. One of these government agency websites is going to have the list of products that you can ship into that country. So you don't put all your effort, energy and money in a product prohibited in your target export market. Put all your effort, energy and money in a product prohibited in your target export market. This item, is it prohibited? Is it prohibited? Is it prohibited? If it is not prohibited, then I can consider it. I can give it a good consideration. Now, out of all the options I have, I will also check the potential and trend. Potential demand and trend. Potential demand and trend in demand. Potential demand and trend in demand. So out of all this now, these are top 5. I want to see the potential. The topmost might not have a growing trend. It might be the highest, but it's declining in the last 2-3 years. So it's not enough to be a major market, but the question in that market is the demand growing in that market. So I've chosen a market. This market I have chosen, is the demand growing in that market? Is the potential there and is demand growing? If the demand is growing, then I stand a chance in that market. If the demand is not growing, I don't stand a chance in that market. Because the market is shrinking, the market is declining. If I go into that market, it's become a crowded market. It might be tough for me to be able to compete. In fact, I need to know the reason why. Why is it even declining? Maybe that's the reason I should not even go into that market in the first place. The next is the purchaser. Who are the purchaser? Who are the purchaser? And what do they want? What type do they buy? What volume do they buy? What type do they buy? What volume do they buy? What specification do they buy? What does the purchaser use it for? Can I get that kind of volume? Can I get that kind of what the type, the variant, the specification the buyer is looking for? I might be able to source for this product. I can get that quality in my country. But with the purchaser volume demand, can I get it? The purchaser specification, can I get it? If I will not be able to get it, then based on what they are using it for, because sometimes, so for example, shea butter, some people will give you some very high level grade A shea butter specification when it is food they want to use it for. But for those that want it for cosmetic, to use on the body, some people don't mind grade B or C. So what the buyer, what the purchaser is using it for, to a very large extent influence the kind of specification that is required. Meaning, some specification can be low and price is low, does not mean it will be rejected, because some people want it and will buy it that way. The next one I'll be looking at is personnel. Now, look, this is a very important point. Personnel in that country. Personnel. By personnel, I mean overseas sales representative, overseas sales subsidiary, overseas sales branch, overseas subsidiary company, overseas sales branch, overseas sales representative. These are personnel I have in the export market. So the question is, this export market, do I have a friend or relative? Do I have a business I can partner with? Can I afford to register a business and send a staff there who will be my personnel on ground to handle negotiation of contract, marketing and sales, to handle post-sale customer service, to handle feedback from the market, market intelligence, post-sale support services, market development, market intelligence, post-sale support services. These are the reasons you need someone on ground. So you might knock off some market because you don't have a rep. In fact, after prohibition, the next most important, in my opinion, is this personnel. After prohibition, is it why? The success, the sustainability of your product in the export market is hinged on this. The sustainability of your product in the export market is hinged on this. If you don't have a representative in the export market, you can likewise kill that market goodbye. Paperwork, you can't grow in that market. Paperwork. Now, what is the documentation requirement? Some country will ask you for some certification, like fair trade certification, like organic certification, like ISO certification, like HACCP certification, depending on the nature of the item you are shipping. Apart from the regular document, bill of lading, invoice, packing list, certificate of origin, inspection report, maybe phytosan certificate, fumigation certificate, are there additional documentation required, specific documentation required? Now, can I get that document? Remember, we are choosing a viable market. If I can't get the document, then I will leave that market. Because this will be a basis for me to leave a market that the document that will be required to pay me, the document is not available. I can't get the document. The document that required to pay me, the document is not available. I can't get the document. And because I cannot get the document, that might be a reason why I would decline going into a particular market. That might be a reason I would decline going into a particular market. The kind of documentation required. Because this document is required to clear the good at destination. This document is required for the buyer to get paid. This document is required for the buyer to be able to get the goods into that country. The next is pricing. You know, there are some markets that have better pricing than the other. And I use UK and US as an example for me. If I'm shipping a product to UK and I'm shipping the same product to US, let's say 100, and you can go and check this online, 100 grams of cashew nut. Go and check what 100 grams of cashew nut sell on Tesco in the UK, and go and check what 100 grams of cashew nut sell on Walmart in the US. You will notice a big difference. So I'm asking myself, is it because UK is just about 6 hours from Nigeria, and US about 12 hours? Is it the reason why? Is it because of proximity? I really cannot explain. But it's important you know that the market you are targeting can pay more, and at a price that is competitive, and at a price that will be profitable for you. These are very important considerations you need to factor in. So you are asking yourself, is this market viable? Is the pricing the market is asking for me going to be making me to be profitable? Some markets also have some important specifications on packaging and labeling. Packaging and labeling. Do I need to change the package I use? Is there a market that will make me not to change the package I use? Maybe I should choose that market that will not make me to incur cost of changing my package. Do I need to change the labeling or change the labeling, the content of the labeling and the language of the labeling? Is there a market that will not require me to change the labeling, content and the language? Those are the factors you now have to consider. Those are the factors you now have to consider. Because at the end of the day, a market that ticks prohibition for me, prohibition is no. A market where prohibition is no. A market where potential is high. A market where purchaser is yes, I can get the purchaser, I can meet the attempt. A market where personnel is yes. A market where paperwork is yes. A market where pricing is yes. But packaging is no. I can't enter that market. So packaging also must be yes. The last and very important is what is called political economy. What does that mean? In summary, I'm looking at risk, political risk, economic risk. Political risk, economic risk. Political risk, civil unrest, insurrection, commotion. Economic risk, exchange rate risk, foreign exchange rate risk, interest rate, financial crisis, inflation, recession. If political economy is no, I can't go into that market. Political economy has to be yes. That means, now, let me say something here. Let me say, and this is very important. Do you know political economy, if it is no, I can still go ahead. But you know what I will do? I will look for a trade finance instrument that will shield me from this. So if I want to be shielded from this risk, I can use confirmed letter of credit. I can use counter guarantee, counter demand guarantee. I can use counter standby letter of credit. In some other, we've not talked a lot about letter of credit, maybe in another video. And all these trade instruments, we'll look at them in another video. But what that means is that if this is no, I can still go ahead, and this is where I'll protect myself. If this is no, I won't be able to go ahead. Some market might allow me, but maybe at a reduced volume. If this is no, of course it's not profitable, I won't go ahead. If this is no, it will be a challenge also because they can't clear the goods. If this is no, I can still go ahead. If I have a letter of credit, I can use online for my promotion. The only thing is that I might not be able to build a very sustainable business in that export market. If this is no, purchase that. If this is no, then I can't even, for me to even be able to promote and get buyers, I need to know the purchasers, know what they want. And potential, that's the reason why I'm even considering it in the first thing. In fact, the fourth thing I will consider before everything is the potential, because I need to identify maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 countries that fit the bill before I now begin to eliminate them one by one. And what am I using to eliminate them? I'm using all these factors to eliminate them. I believe you learn 1 or 2 things as far as what we are discussing today is concerned, and that having to do with how to choose a viable export market for your product. Thank you very much. See you in the next video, and bye for now.